Okay, this is another video, Dungeon Crusade Chronicles, the variant to the base game Dungeon Crusade. It is a game or variant that you can play in under an hour. It's much more strategic than the base game if that's something you're looking for. All right, here we go. So you start the game with the encounter phase. And what you're going to do is you're going to roll three patrol dice, and you're going to roll 1d6. This die is from the game Cthulhu Wars. It is just a d6. In the encounter phase, you're going to roll all of these dice at once. And basically, it's just going to tell you, it's a timer for when you're going to draw an encounter card at the beginning of your turn. That's all it is. And it also is a timer or random action if the minions are going to spawn and if the minions are going to move. So like I said, I'm going to roll all four of these at once. Let's just roll just the patrol dice first, just to kind of simplify and explain this in more detail. So you roll this at the beginning of your turn. If you get one of, if any of the colors are not the same, you're going to take a random one. It doesn't matter which one, you set it aside. That's locked. For the most part. And then these other two patrol dice are just going to sit on the side, and then in your next turn, in the beginning of your next turn, you would take these dice, roll them with the minion die again, but we'll talk about that in a second, and you roll it again. So if I got a green, purple, and orange, it's not an orange, so nothing would happen. You literally just put it aside and you move to the next phase. If you rolled, all right, perfect example, you roll two oranges, now all of them are the same color. This, you literally would go grab an encounter card, a random encounter card, just like the base game. So you draw an encounter card, you read what it is, you do what the action is. That's unfortunately not a good one. All right, anyway, so you take this card, you put it in here. Once you're done, these three patrol dice or encounter dice would reset, and in your next turn, you would roll them again. Keep in mind, you roll all of them at once. This is part of the encounter phase, okay? In addition to rolling these dice, a little bit about these dice. I mean, they're Dungeon Crusade. They come with the base game, so you should be fine. If you only have one, then I would just roll it 3 times. Oh, I got an orange, I got a blue, and then I got another blue, and then maybe with like a piece of paper, or maybe you get some kind of marker. Like you could get those little wooden cubes that come in every board game in the world. Maybe you get blue, either way, just be a little creative on how you would save that. Point is, you're rolling till eventually you have 3 of the same color. The only time it's a little confusing is, for example, let's say you had one set aside and it's your new turn and you roll, and let's say you rolled not a blue, let's say you rolled 2 purple. If you ever have 2 of the same color and you only have 1 here, this is not a miss. This actually replaces this and it comes here. Design reasons for this is the encounter cards need to come out in the game, but they don't need to come out every turn or every other turn. It's a little too much. It's the balance of the game kind of. I originally tried to pull an encounter card every turn, and this game completely broke. It was just too much, too swingy. This is, I think, perfect, and it's kind of, it's what Dungeon Crusade is all about. You're just chucking dice and looking and getting nervous, getting excited. So I like it. I find that it's a really, when I'm rolling this, I like games where everything I do is meaningful and kind of keeps me on my edge, and on the edge. So this, basically, when you're rolling this, you're like, oh no, if I roll all 3 in one color, you're gonna be like, no, So anyway, that's the encounter phase. In addition to rolling that, you only roll all of these. Okay, so basically, this is a d6. Well, it is a d6, exactly. If you roll a 1, 2, or 3, which in this Cthulhu Wars die, it's the blank ones. That's just because I like the way it looks. I think it's cool. I love customized dice. They're just really interesting. A 1, 2, or 3, nothing happens. So if I rolled this, I would just take any random color, because they're all, and I would take all 3 of these and put aside, and I'm done. Now I'm actually going to draft. Now next thing I'm going to do is draft dice. But if I roll, coming back to here, this, and I roll a claw, which is a 4 or a 5 on a d6, that means the minions are going to move. Okay, and how the minions move is very simple. You take your hero, wherever Mahiliac is, whatever quadrant, okay, just like Dungeon Crusade base game, whatever quadrant he's in, all of those minions move, and they move. Instead of using a D6, you're going to use a D3. In this game, it's only a D3 because it's only one tile. A D6 would negate movement being anything important. Okay? If there are no minions on your quadrant, you are going to go clockwise around the board till you find one quadrant that has at least one minion. Okay? Once again, if there's no minions on the board, in your quadrant, you're going to go clockwise. So Mahiliac's here, clockwise would be around like this, obviously. So you go up one and here. So in this phase, in this one, you would actually have the Viper would actually have a move phase. And all you're going to do for that is you roll just like standard Dungeon Crusade, except instead of a D6, you're going to use a D3. You roll it. He's going to move 1. And on that patrol route. So here we go. Whatever his addition to is, I think he's a 3. I don't think I have his card out right now. But that's basically, so you move and then you're done. The one thing that can happen and does happen is you can tell, since you only have one tile, what happens if he was going to move and I rolled a green. I don't know if you can see that, okay? Well, obviously there's no line here. This is something I'm still working on, but I kind of like this, and I've been doing this during the game, is what you do is you follow that patrol route. The reason I chose this is because the patrol dice are supposed to be something you can't calculate. And I feel like if you take something that's coming off the tile, so in other words, the green, where do you go? Well, there's no patrol, the tile ends. What I do is let's say he needs to move, all right, let's say he rolled a 2 green, let's say his base movement is a 3. So he's going to move 5 green. What you do is you take him and you go clockwise till you find your first patrol route that's coming off the board. So literally you would just go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you'd roll again. But let's say it was a 3. So he'd go here and you're done. That's the whole movement. So basically, if you run out of a board or a tile, you take your minion off the board, and then go clockwise till he finds his first patrol route, and then you just continue. Design-wise, why did I do that, and why did I not just have him come back or negate or reroll? Well, if you remove those patrol routes coming off the board, you can calculate that he most likely is going to come back here or come back here, and I don't really like that. I like not knowing what the minion's going to do, and thematically it's kind of cool. It's almost like you're playing one piece of the dungeon, but it doesn't mean the rest of the dungeon doesn't exist. So in this case, think of it as kind of like a fog of war. Like you didn't see one of the minions, and then he came here. So hope that explains a little bit. If you roll a 6, then all you do is spawn. You spawn a minion in the same quadrant as Mahiliac is. If that quadrant is full, you go clockwise, so he would spawn right here. If all of them are full and there's no spots available, the minion does not spawn. Okay, so that's the encounter and the minion die. Hope that makes sense. Thanks for watching.